and find something you're passionate about besides Ziggy.
Howdy, howdy. How's it going? We're going to have a guest on today. I'm about to send him the link so we can talk some summer wells. It's good to get a conversation going. So I'm going to send him the link here in a few minutes. So if he's listening and wonder why he doesn't have a link yet, because I haven't sent it yet. So, hey, Sherry and Sue Lawson. You guys let me know when you see Dee Dee come in. Hey, Sherry. If Dee Dee doesn't come in, I want to say, oh my gosh, she got me the most awesome. Here, I can show them. I am so excited about these. She got me some tarot cards that I had on my wish list. And I had, I totally forgot that I had these on my, let's see here. Oh, no, don't put me on camera. I'm not quite dressed. That's not what I want to do. I'm sitting here in a bra. How did I even still get shown? I wasn't even covering the right. What a dumb I am. All right. I was afraid of that. What the hell? No, not that camera. Huh. Why is okay? Here we go. Finally, I was like, I know. I wanted to show this. Is Dee Dee here? Hey, RJ. I'll send you a link in 1 second. Sorry. She got me this really awesome tarot. Oh my gosh, it's like my new favorite. I love it. Look how nice it is. It has like gold like foil on around it. And what's so cool about it too is like on the cards, it has some keywords, in small print to help you kind of like, because sometimes it's hard once you learn tarot from like the regular Rider Waite like this. You get used to the pictures, and sometimes seeing the other pictures, it will confuse you. So it's good to have these keywords to be like, oh yeah, these are just so gorgeous. I love them. Have to be careful though. Some of them have like nudity on them. They're too nice to like draw on. They're just so beautiful. Thank you so much, Dee. I love these. Hopefully she'll be on, and hopefully, because I've been trying to, I'm like, I can email her, but I was like, I thought I had her phone number. I was trying to find her phone number to text her because I was totally not expecting these. I thought it was the sweetest thing. So thank you so much. Let me remind me to, I forgot to even tell Fred, I finally got a hold of Fred, okay? And by the way, I'm trying to pull up my chat on my phone, but oh, awesome, Jerry. Yeah, everybody sub up to RJ. We could help him get monetized. Try anyways. I don't have the influence I used to, but we'll try our best to get you some subs. I sent a picture. So there's a picture of, I was told was Andy Paul. I don't know. I forget who sent me this. Oh, McBro. I guess it was on McBro's channel. I don't know if somebody sent me the screenshot or what. However, I get that isn't, according to Fred, it's not Andy Paul, and they're trying to. They told me they were going to get his real name for me because they don't really like the guy either, because they especially don't like him because he tried some funny business on Laura's daughter and she was underage. So from what I am told, this is not Andy Paul, the Andy Paul, unfortunately, but hopefully Fred really does get a hold of me and figures out his real name or a way to, because I want to look into the guy. Yeah, I go live every night now, at least for an hour. Here, I'll go ahead and send RJ the link. Whenever, you don't have to come on like right away if you don't want to, RJ. It's just whenever you feel like it. It's like really laid back here. It was nice, and these are like nice. Like, most of my cards are, well, I have a couple really nice ones, but most of them I just bought from China and, are just, they're not like, but these ones are nice, very nice. And I mean, my new favorite, I love them. I can't stop smiling. They're so amazing. I know it's silly, but I like them so much that I took off like all the other ones I had on my wish list, because I was like, oh, these are the ones I'm going to be using all the time. Like, you have to have different, you don't have to, but it's good to have several decks. But I have plenty now. I don't want to get too greedy with it because these ones are just amazing. So I think I'll be happy with these for a while. I know you've been around for a while, RJ. Yeah, Victoria. So, okay. This guy was rumored to be Andy Paul, who was staying at that, or was staying supposedly in a camper over by what people call the shed. I was so confused. I just like recently learned. I've asked so many people, what's the shed? What's the shed? And people will try to explain it to me. I mean, like, what the hell? I don't, but they're talking about that house on Beach Creek. It's a house to me. Anyways, over by that, I guess, was where the camper was set. Andy Paul was camping, or had been paying to park his camper there, I guess, or something. But according to Fred, this is not Andy Paul. And he told me he's going to he told me, here, let me hear what he said. I might just screenshot it so you guys can see. He says he doesn't know. I asked him, did you know someone named Earl Taylor? They were found dead face down in a creek the next day after Summer went missing, and they were married to Celeste Maddox, who has been on and off with Ricky Crawford Jr., Marlena Crawford's brother. And he said he didn't know that he doesn't know him. But he does want me to say, I guess he heard me, or it could be, I never know who's messaging me, whether it's Laura or Fred, but sometimes I can tell by the language. But I guess he heard, either him or Laura heard my live about the KKK when it came up and stuff, and they just wanted you guys to know that they're not supporters of the KKK. She says I say she because it could be she. It could be Fred that's saying, but usually she's the one. He's just not very good at technology at all. I mean, he's mechanically inclined. He even has Laura read the messages to him and stuff sometimes. Like, anyways, they wanted me to tell you guys that they're not supporters of the KKK, and when they say the N-word, that they're referring to sorry pieces of shit. And she said they said they're in all races more white than any other race, which I would agree with that. As far as sorry pieces of shit. Anyways, they're in all races more white than any other race. And then they said, but Rose, that was when Candace and Dawn first moved here. And TBI, by the way, this is what they said. This is what they said. They're still sticking by this whole bone thing. They said TBI did collect some bones, but some was animal bones and some was not. I don't know how Fred knows that, but here, let me take a screenshot of this. Actually, RJ, did you get my link? I'm sending these to myself so I can show you guys here. I'm just like passing on a message, okay? So, but I did want to clear up the whole KKK thing because they don't want to be affiliated with the, hold on. Yeah, that's fine. You're good, RJ. Take your time. I just want to make sure you had it. Okay. So Sunday, I got this message where he or she said, I'm not a supporter of KKK. When I say the N-word, I'm referring to a sorry piece of shit. They're in all races, more white than any other race. But Rose, that was when Candace and Dawn first moved here. So there's something that he's still sticking to. He's still sticking to that he swears that he's met Rose Bly. Guys, there's been crazier things have happened. But that'd be crazy. He still swears he met her. I mean, I don't know. And then he said, and when he tried, he meant TBI did collect some bones, but some was animal, some was not. That's what people don't understand. It's like there was a bunch of crushed bones, and yeah, of course Fred is gonna be able to tell animal bones, like, but guys don't understand, they were crushed up. And yeah, there was some type of animal mandible, like jaw, but there was crushed bones everywhere. And I mean, wouldn't that be the perfect way to like kind of get rid of somebody's bones, like mix it in with some like animal bones? So I just asked, okay, that's good to know about KKK. And I said, how old was Rose then? And I go, can you please let me know if this is Andy Paul? And I said, I laughed because I asked a whole bunch of times. He said, no, I'll try to find out what his real name is. And I said, okay, thank you. Do you know someone named Earl Taylor? They were found dead, face down in a creek next day after Summer went missing, and they were married to, I guess it's pronounced Celeste Maddox, who has been on and off with Ricky Crawford Jr., Marlena Crawford's brother. He said, I don't know him at all. So that's just what I wanted to show you guys with that. Is Dee Dee here yet? Oh, you don't have to have a camera. Hey.
Hello, how are you?
Good. Yeah, I just saw your message. You don't have to have a camera on here. I mean, this is the channel where Prayer Garden first made her debut. And that's the reason why, is because I didn't make her show her face, is what she says. So,
well, I in the email I just sent you, I said I would explain. And it is purely for privacy reasons. It's not that I'm afraid to show my face or anything like that, because of the intimidation that has gone on in the area when people have tried to speak up about
yeah.
Summer Wells.
Hey,
That I for now remain behind a veil, so to speak. And one day I will finally reveal my face. I'm not trying to be deceptive or anything, but because I found out a lot of information, and there's some information I cannot speak of on YouTube. I kind of hide myself a little bit for that purpose.
I know how you feel, because like especially this last time that I went to Beach Creek, I don't want to stay in Hawkins County. I try to stay out of Hawkins County. And you know how it's like where John and Candace live, it's like right on the line of Sullivan and Hawkins. So I try to stay in Sullivan because I get nervous going in Hawkins County. I have to admit. And so this last time, yeah, I was annoyed that people decided to take pictures of me at a gas station and stuff, because it truly does put you in danger. I mean, when you're talking about these type of things, like a little girl who's missing, supposed trafficking and stuff like that, and the stuff that I've talked about on this channel, it can get kind of scary. I mean,
and the things that I found out that Don Wells dabbles in and has been involved in the past, it's just smart for now. That's what it is. And I would actually say next time you come down here, look over towards Bristol. Look over towards Bristol for a place to stay. You're going to be left alone over there, or down in Johnson City. They're about 20 to 30 minute travels, but you're going to be left alone.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Johnson City, or however you say it, Johnson City is a pretty nice area, for sure. Okay.
So a little introduction to your group, because
sorry, you guys funny. Oh yeah, this is RJ. I put up your name here, RJ Conversations Living Room.
Yeah.
And we're just
channel's name is Conversations Living with RJ. RJ. I always go by RJ. It's
link in the bio.
Gamer tag, more than anything else, for me. That's how I got RJ.
What type of games do you play?
Oh, I'm a MMORPG player.
So what would that be, like Call of Duty?
Media, online role playing.
Oh, okay. Okay. So you don't play like Call of Duty and stuff like that.
Not Call of Duty. No, I'm more. If I'm playing a single person game, I'm more of a Elder Scrolls type player. If I play, it's just a basically online strategy war game. If I go online,
Oh, okay. Is that like World of Warcraft?
yeah, that's one of them.
Uh-huh.
That'd be one of them.
I used to play that. Like I was big into that before I started YouTube. And basically the day I started YouTube is the day I quit playing WoW. So
By the
I
way,
want
that
to
looked like that looked like it was a beautiful tarot deck that somebody had gifted you.
I know. Do you do tarot?
No, but I'm
Oh,
familiar with that side of the
yes. Is
world.
Edie in here yet? If she is, if I want to say, if anybody sees her come in, please let me know because it's so awesome. I know it's silly to get so excited about, but they're like nice and like, I don't know, they're just beautiful. I like pretty I'm weird about like packaging and how things look. It makes it look luxurious. I don't know.
Mhm.
But,
No, I totally get it. It looked like it was a beautiful deck.
yeah. I want to answer Smokey real quick about this because this is the same question I have myself, and because I have the same question, Smokey. She said, so wait, to clarify, what he means is some were visibly animal bones and some were unidentifiable to the naked eye because they were crushed or they were confirmed finding human remains. That's what I want to know. That's what I want to know too, because the way he's talking, it says as if some were found to. I don't know like how to take that either. I'm trying to see these things. This is why it's so hard. It's so frustrating because to talk to him. Why don't you try to go talk to Fred Hill?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Why have you gone down to Ben Hill before?
I've been there.
I said, why you should go try to talk to Fred sometime.
If I have opportunity to be over that way, I'll definitely try to talk to him.
Yeah, if you see him outside, just like wave to him and stuff. And he's very friendly. I don't know how he might be not as I don't know with a guy. I'm not sure. But you sound pretty friendly. I think that you'd be fine.
Oh, I don't have a problem with talking to locals around here, even though I am living in the vicinity. I'm not, if you can't tell by my accent or lack of accent, I'm not originally from Tennessee.
Mm-hmm.
But I might have a little bit of insight here on these bones.
Yeah.
It actually, I think you were talking about them about a week ago. I don't remember the exact date.
Yeah, they come up all the time. People like to give me shit about them, and still, I mean, people have come up with all kinds of theories and stuff.
Here you go. Here's a thought that I have about these.
Mm-hmm.
When you get out where the Wells live, I like to say the country gets country quick. Meaning that once you get outside of the cities in the Tri-Cities area, Kingsport, Bristol, and Johnson City, it gets back to the Appalachian way of life very quickly. The old school Appalachian way of life. And even though they live just 20 minutes, 30 minutes, possibly from a doctor's office, the people that are out in those parts and up in the mountains, they rather go with the old school Appalachian medicine, which is very similar to Wiccan spells and cures.
Oh my gosh. I could totally see like Jody Sue into something like that.
Mm-hmm. And a lot of times they will go to like for lack of a better word, a medicine person or a person that is Wiccan, and they will tell them what's wrong, and they'll conjure up or make some sort of potion. Most of it, it's old snake oil type stuff or old medicine man cough syrup type stuff. You got to have a shot of whiskey to take it down type of stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, I could.
And they will use things like crushed up bones, and they'll burn the bones for bone ash, or for they'll
Oh,
grind them up and crush them up to get the bone marrow out of them,
okay.
or
Yeah,
even the just bone dust.
that makes sense.
So it is completely possible, and I'm going to say just plausible, that somebody, and I would not be surprised if it was somebody in the Beach Creek community or that holler, was doing exactly that. And I'm not going to say I know for a fact. I'm just saying it's a possibility.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I could see that. I could see that that would make sense, because with it being crushed up, I was wondering, that's kind of weird. But so what I was going to ask, are you able to talk about the Knoxville?
I could give you some information. Absolutely. I was actually digging and finding information today.
Yes. So you know about the story about that lady that contacted me. And
Yeah. I'm vaguely familiar, but I understand who you're speaking of.
okay, yeah. Okay. So she contacted me trying to say her friend was a former lady of the night, and she's afraid to come forward and stuff, but she claims that her friend was one of Dawn's favorite
Regulars.
lady. Yes, one of her. Yes, he was a regular of, and actually that Dawn had helped her get away from the area and escape the area from a guy named Playboy that goes by Playboy. That's all. I don't know.
With it being Knoxville, and I'm not trying to be judgmental, it's very probable that's a street name.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, because, and the guy is supposedly a black guy.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I know. And he's supposedly a pimp that is running this in some type of on the outskirts of Knoxville, some type of motel. I was told there's in the back, there's 2 levels, but you can't see that it has 2 levels from the street view. And it's on the outskirts of Knoxville. It's it doesn't look too bad, but when you get back to the back area, they still rent rooms, supposedly, like a regular motel functions as a regular motel, but there's supposedly another part of the motel in the back that is where this pimp is renting out several rooms, and they have kind of a deal with the owner, who is, I guess, some Indian guy, and he sits there and sells drugs, and the owner gets a cut of it. Supposedly, this is the story. This is the whole story of the place, of what I'm told. And supposedly Dawn would go there and Dawn and Andy, supposedly.
Mm-hmm.
I was originally told just Dawn, but then I asked if, she asked her if she ever saw him with anybody else, and I sent a picture of Andy, and supposedly she claimed, yes, that is the guy. I've seen him with Dawn before. I don't know.
So you have a couple different pieces of information that you kind of have to marry together to come up with an idea of an answer on this. It's a very big possibility. Carrie Lawson in the chat room is using that exact phrasing, and I know she's meaning by that. There is, I'm not going to say that is directly connected to Knoxville, but it's not far off from Knoxville. We were mentioning Cook County last night.
Yeah.
As a local, I have to tread lightly about that county and its specific areas, which I'll get into a little bit more information with you on that, which, as I was mentioning to you earlier, I have some links and found out some information, or have some information that you would like to share with you guys.
Okay.
But Don Wells definitely frequented Knoxville often. His addiction would take him there. It's not a joke when people say that he knew where every crack house in between here and Knoxville was. That's probably true.
Yeah.
His addiction was actually pretty big from my understanding.
Yeah, and supposedly still happening. Did you hear about how Candace, what happened on Daisy's the other night, where she said that Donnie just left y'all, and then Daisy asked Candace like, "Where'd he go?" And she's like, "Oh," she said, "I can't say that on here."
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
So it was a Friday night, which we hear a lot about Friday nights, that Don would on Friday nights would go get drunk and see his dealer and be gone.
The reputation of the Wells property has been horrendous for a long time. Even though Ronnie Lawson has never actually said they had a bust there or anything going on there, it was a form of a trading post of types. And I'm not talking about something you would go into an old-fashioned Southern store or like what Cracker Barrel has set up and for a trading post where you can buy stuff or the old-fashioned definition. People can go there and trade goods, trade services, barter for items. We're not talking about that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And Summer Wells going missing and everything that has happened since then has almost completely shut that down. Let's not forget that Don Wells just is a bad person. I'm not trying to be ugly. I'm not trying to paint it any other way. He's just a bad person. Yeah. He has a long history of issues. And the word that went around YouTube for a while is that at one point he had relations with a woman of the night right in front of Candace.
I remember something like that. Yes. I didn't know she was a lady of the night, but.
Oh, it was.
Okay.
It was.
Oh my God.
I'll put it that way because it was, from my understanding, it was actually a trade for drugs.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Wow. See, I've wondered. Oh my gosh, I'm not going to go into that theory, but yeah.
Well, I think you can. I think you can understand more of what I mean by the trading post by bringing that up.
Yeah. So because he would probably, he'd use the.
Others would use his ground for the same thing, though.
Really? So that's where a bunch of people would hang out and sit there and trade drugs. Yes. Do you think it's true that they really had a sign up with sex, like something like advertising sex services over there on that? I guess what they call a shed, but it looks like a house to me on Beach Creek.
Are you talking about the lower shed?
Yeah.
Probably. Okay. I don't know about that. But if somebody was going there for that purposes, you picked a pretty poor location. That shed is in horrible shape and it's gotten worse over time. That's an old animal feed shed.
Well, it would have been this would have been 10 plus years ago.
Yeah. That's an old animal feed shed that they actually intended to have livestock on that ground at the lower part of the property.
Well, did you know that Don actually lived in there and so did Candace? They lived in there for a short time.
Yeah, the trailer, if you go look on Google Maps and go back to June 2013, is the picture that comes in my mind. Is that trailer was down there by the feed shed with cooking equipment outside. And there's a rebel flag flying. That is where Don Wells, I can confirm for you, definitely Don Wells did live there. I don't know about Candace, but I know Don Wells did live there before they officially moved to, everybody moved to the house at 110.
Yeah, I'm trying to pull up a satellite. But What do you use to pull it up? Just Google Earth?
Yeah, Google Earth is going to give you the best with going back to June 2013. I have like an app version that I found on
We'll
my
let you
desktop.
share. Oh, you're not. Are you not on your desktop?
Oh, I am.
Because my computer's acting weird.
Oh, hold on. Bear with me just a
I
moment.
mean, I guess it's not. You just seem like you wanted to show that. I mean, it's not
Oh
that big
no,
a deal.
well, it's not that big of a deal. I mean, I'm just saying, I'm agreeing with you that if you go
Mhm.
back to 2013 and take a look at the street view of it, that the condition of it, what it is now, is nowhere near what it was then, when they were actually physically living there.
Got Google Earth Studio up now, but I don't know how to switch. Here, I'll show you guys what I so you do know that for it to be a fact, it used to he would bring prostitutes back to the house like often.
It depends on what you define as often. Here,
Probably
if you go to what I just try to share, I have the street view of it up.
Oh, are you trying to? Okay.
So this is the lower property. Up over here is where the house would be, but this is where Don and Candace. You said Candace was there, but this is where Don lived for a while before the full family moved up, and they moved up to 110. But this is going back to June 2013. This is the old feed house that I was referring to. It's at this point it's a tear down. There is no
Well,
I skipped to 2018 so you guys can see this is actually in really good condition compared to what it is now.
Yeah. I didn't walk up there or anything, but I've been out there and by there several times. You were timed out? Oh, it probably was an accident. Let me see. Probably was an accident. I'm guessing. I'll keep an eye on it. But anyways, never heard him speak on who's RJ. Okay, his links in the bio, but I will share it here too. His channel name is Conversations Living Room, or how do you say it?
Conversations Living Room with RJ.
Okay, Conversations. Yeah, it seems like it should say Conversations in the Living Room or something. I don't know.
Yeah, originally I had it just be my name RJ, but there were so many people and some artists, some music artists that he goes by RJ that nobody could ever find my channel. And the story behind why it's Conversations Living Room is that a major influence to me growing up and liking basketball was somebody that is out of Philadelphia who, and this goes back to Philadelphia when it was huge for basketball in college leagues. His radio talk show was Conversations. It was always Conversations Living Room. So he had such a major influence that I wanted to do something similar with being a handle on YouTube.
Okay.
Type of deal. So
okay, sounds. Hey, everybody joining Sugar Moon and yeah, everybody. Link. I just posted his link. I also have it in the chat, and I also have his channel name on the screen. But we're trying to get him to 1,000.
I
Um,
appreciate every single like and
we
subscription
need
I
more
get.
men. We need more men in the community. So, because we don't have very many.
I cannot, because of my work, my job, have I'm allowed to do what I do, but I cannot profit from it.
Oh, okay.
So even if somebody were to, if I do go over 1,000, I can never monetize this channel,
Okay.
because topics could be related too close to my work.
Okay.
So, but I do appreciate everybody liking and subscribing my videos. It means
It's
the
still
world
a,
to
like,
me.
yeah, it's still a hobby, and you never know. Maybe one day you can do YouTube full time or something. You never
Well,
know. Like, I
I
never
have
thought people would
I
watch
have a
me.
plan. I have a plan for a different channel that I would be allowed to monetize, but it's not going to be anything I start till probably midsummer or beginning of summer. So
Um. Oh, he does.
I no,
He is a local, Samantha.
I didn't live at the Wells property. I'm no, I let's Sherry. I didn't live anywhere near the Wells or on the Wells property. I live in Kingsport. I'm not far from where I'm on. I'm not very far from where the
What?
Wells actually do live.
He did no, yeah, no, he didn't. Where did you get that, Sherry? He didn't live there. Oh, oh
I
gosh.
just coincidentally be a person that does true crime and talks about, my main focus on it is missing kids. So when Summer Wells had gone missing, of course, it was going to be, with being so close, it was going to be
Right,
a huge focus to me.
right. So, what is your theory? I mean, do you have a theory on this case?
Absolutely do.
What is it? Let's hear
I
it.
personally believe in the idea that there was a sudden illness, like heat sickness, um, that happened. I'm a big believer in Occam's Razor, and this is what
Mhm.
makes the most absolute sense to me. Um, the summer, through all the driving and trips that they made, which each were about 10 to 15 minutes from each other, each does the place they went to in Kingsport that day.
Mhm.
What bothers me the most about every single thing they did, other than there being no actual evidence of Sonic, such as being on video camera
Right.
or anything from Sonic being in the car, in the truck, is the fact that they say they went to not Priceless, my apologies, the grocery store. I'm just drawing a mental blank.
I think that was called Priceless.
Okay, then
Yeah.
then my thought wasn't wrong.
I think it
um,
was.
that the fact that they left Summer inside of a vehicle, that the windows were closed, it was sealed up tight on a asphalt parking lot. Granted, it was only about 83 degrees that day for a high, but that being in the vehicle as long as she would have been, even though she was in there with Hunter, it would have gotten to a dangerous temperature in less than 30 minutes for a child her age, and she was in that vehicle for 45 minutes.
Wasn't she in there with H though?
Yes,
Supposedly.
yes. But what 15-year-old little boy is going to know to look for signs of distress of a child starting to have heat sickness?
Well, hopefully, if it got that uncomfortable, he would like open a door or take her out too. But I don't know.
He was spending so much time on TikTok, he didn't notice that he was sweating, he was getting hot, uncomfortable. It just, everything that, in my mind, everything that could have gone wrong went wrong for Summer in that parking lot.
See, if we're going to, I don't know. To me, I feel like the most likely, like the Occam's Razor or however you pronounce it. I
Mhm.
feel like the most likely thing would be like an accident cover, which I guess that is an accident cover up.
Right. Well,
Same thing.
that's the next step is that, they left there. They didn't really pay attention to how Summer was doing, and Summer was struggling. Turns around and ends up at some point. Now, this is purely what I believe. Okay. Then when they do finally notice, Candace calls Don. Don convinces her not to go to the hospital, but instead of bring her down to him, they meet somewhere in the middle. And
this is your theory, right?
This is my theory.
Yeah. Just making sure people know that it's not fact. It's just his theory.
Right. This is my theory that Don Wells convinced Candace not to take Summer to the hospital when they realized she was critical. When they met somewhere in between. Remember, Don Wells knows very, very well the roads to go when there is no cameras.
I would believe, I kind of believe something like that. Yeah, because supposedly there's a rumor, one of his people he worked with, that he took a break from 3 to 3:30 or something like that. So that would be.
Yeah, he frequently took hour to 2 hour lunches. And the way that I have mapped out how he would have gone would have avoided any kind of cameras or anything like that. And there's a couple videos on my channel where I detail that trip. I mean, turn by turn detail it, how it would work out. And there is plenty of places that back in the back roads that he would have taken that would have avoided any kind of camera. And I believe that something happened along the way. This is where I will admit that people will try to say this could not have happened at all, but the Chimney Top Loop and that area is extremely important. I believe that she was actually hidden in the mountains not far off of Chimney Top Loop.
Yeah. There's all kinds of places out there.
There's an old schoolhouse up there that it gets maintenance 2 to 3 times a week. That's it. It's not used anymore. They just simply are keeping up and checking on the condition of the building. Very easily could have hidden somewhere in that building.
I mean, with all the mountains and everything and the drop-offs, like, who's to say where she could be? You know what I mean? Like, there's so much drop-offs. It's scary to even think like that. They could just, I mean, I don't even like to think like that.
Yeah.
But
they need to get a crew of locals, not just police. We're talking some, excuse the way I say this, but I cannot think of a better way to say this. Good old boys.
Yeah, like
some
Fred
good
Hill,
old boys
who rides horses to take out Fred Hill.
Exactly. Whether it's horseback, on a mule, on a dirt bike, on a 4-wheeler, they need to get up in the mountains and somebody that goes around with the teams or different people with tranq guns, and so they can knock out any bears or any bobcats or any wildlife that they would have to worry about. So they can actually go in the caves and look. Because there are a lot of caves around here.
Yeah, and that's the thing too. Like when I asked Fred, speaking of the caves, or no, not Fred, Haskell Rhines, Haskell Rhines and his nephew. I asked them because they were saying, yeah, it's a true story about the monkeys. Okay, the monkeys in Beach Creek, because Fred Hill came up with. Swears that there was some monkeys let go by somebody.
No, somebody had a monkey as a pet and it ran away is what happened.
Well, this is I don't know, but from what I hear, it was somebody like unalive themselves or something. It was a bunch of them. Like he had it would have been a long, long time ago.
Mm-hmm.
But there is other people that's had monkeys out there too, but as like a pet.
The story I've heard is that there was somebody living back there. They had a monkey as a pet, and they weren't paying attention, and the monkey ran away.
But if there was just one, how would it populate? Or how would it recreate?
That's a good question.
Or because I asked him, like, I said, well, how would they live in this climate? Like, in Tennessee winters and stuff. And they're like, well, there's caves. And I was like, oh, well, maybe they could
This past winter, we only had 2 storms that gave us a dusting of snow.
Yeah, that's crazy though. But he swear there's some, I don't know. There's some stories that, why do all that? What do you mean killer looks? So Don got a sick kid. Why do all that? All what? Do you know what he means by that?
I'm going to take it as being, why do all that, as far as going and hiding her somewhere?
Oh.
It's just my theory. I have no proof on that. Killer looks, to be honest. It's an Occam's Razor type of deal. The simplest explanation has to be the truth. Something in my gut. Something in my gut, it tells me that is there's no other reason for him to go onto Chimney Top Loop and for him to go through the lengths that he did has to lay down the layer of deception that he has about everything that has happened.
Yeah, or maybe he's, maybe means it too. Like, why didn't they just take her to the hospital, or,
That's what most common people would do. Common sense people would do.
Yeah.
We're not talking about the common sense people.
Yeah. But if there really was we don't know what was in her system.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah. Or there could be several reasons, I guess, when
what
you really
was that
think
orange? Yeah. What was that orange drink on the back seat?
Yeah, I know. I've thought of that too, I've thought of everything. That was one of my big theories, is like do you think Candace and Dawn both, well, then with your theory, they both would know then, right?
I believe more towards Dawn knows, because he's found out information and reluctantly put 2 and 2 together. He doesn't want to admit that he knows the level of what Candace had in store for that day, but he's figured out things that he just doesn't want to admit.
Somebody's asking where Chimney Top Loop. Killer Look says he thinks Chimney Top Loop is important as well. Chimney Top Loop. I've seen the road, but I can't. I guess if you.
Do you want me to go back on Google Maps, or you got Google Maps up?
I have Google Studio here. It might.
Okay. Go south.
Which way is? How do you know which direction you're going?
Down. Scroll down.
Okay.
Keep going. Go over the mountain.
Okay. Like, is it way, way, way down here?
Hang on. Here, let me share my screen.
Yeah. Probably be better if you do it. Dee Dee, there you are. Thank you. I showed the cards you got me. They're so awesome. They're my new favorite. They're so nice.
It's ready for you to prove.
Okay.
Okay, this is 110 Ben Hill.
I'm very directionally. I know my north, south, east, west, but I can't go outside and be like, oh, that's north. If I had a compass,
Mm-hmm. How do you feel? How are you comfortable with mentioning other creators?
Yeah, go ahead. I don't care.
John Q and I extensively have gone over the mapping of this area. Chimney Top Loop is this right here. It's this whole area in here. Oh, wait a second. I'm on the wrong area. There it is. I was one street over, guys. I apologize. Yeah. This is Chimney Top Loop right here. Horton Highway, it's on the other side of the mountains of where they are. If you want more of a direction, this is I-81. Up the top here, up here, it doesn't stop. These roads, even though Google Maps does not, whenever you look at the map of this area, do not think ever that if the map stops showing a road, don't think they stop, because they don't. I don't remember exactly where it is. That's Fields Road. It's probably, there's an old schoolhouse back here. It's actually somebody's house.
Yeah, Fred even said that there's like a roads that will go all the way down to Ben Hill. Like I don't know what he was talking about, but there's
You don't have to go on Beach Creek Road to get some of these back roads. You don't have to go all the way around the mountain to get over here to Horton Highway and on the Chimney Top Loop. A lot of these roads. Let me see if I can show you here, folks, what I'm talking about.
Yeah, there is
Ben Hill Road. That marker is Ben Hill Road. Look, this is Ben Hill Road.
Mm-hmm.
It looks like it stops here.
Mm-hmm.
It goes up further. It actually comes up along this ridge line here. It's just covered underneath the brush and everything that you can't see it. And once you get above this Y right here for Simpson Loop, forgive me for a second, folks. I'm just relocating. There is a Y in the road here. A split in the road where Simpson Loop starts.
It's down further. Oh, wait.
Okay. Above, you get above this point here where this Y is. Ben Hill Road, even though it shows as being a road still, it's gravel. It's dirt.
Mm-hmm.
But that continues all the way up into what everybody calls the farm, which is like a piece of property that's over 100 acres. Up at the top of Ben Hill Road. So wow. They actually connect. And then some of these paths, like right here, that's another actually that connects over further to over into here, Broom Hollow.
Wow. And you know what? If Andy, I'm sitting here thinking Andy Bernard would know a lot of these roads.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
And he was supposedly down at the end of the road that day on Ben Hill.
A more obvious one is over here, Light Road. Okay. It goes over here, Light Road, and it looks like it just ends. But if you zoom in, you can see the road. It actually continues. But as soon as you hit, it gets up underneath the trees. It looks like it disappears. But it's still there.
Yeah, and the roads, man, some of them are scary. Man, I kind of got myself in back on Light Holler Road. Oh, I got myself into some questionable area. I got a little bit scared.
Light Hollow is not as bad. If you've never been there, it's like, where the hell am I? Excuse my language.
Whatever road it really was, it had like an old school schoolhouse that looked like from the 1800s, and I went off in some dirt road, and those roads are really dangerous. And if you run out of gas, dude, you are so screwed, because you
Oh,
don't
yeah.
you don't have service. Oh my gosh.
Oh, there is no service. There
Right.
okay, so speaking of which, why did Candace have to get grandma's phone?
Yeah.
Do you know that if she would have had her phone and dialed 911, the call would have gone through no matter what?
Right. Yeah.
So why did she have to get her grandma's
I know
phone?
that's
The
what we've
grandma's phone.
always that's the question. They wanted to say because I think they were trying to say because it got better service or something like that.
Sure,
I
but
don't know.
911 call, regardless of the amount of service, the way the towers are set up, it will actually bounce people off and deny a person making a regular phone call for a 911 call because it's going to dedicate more energy, more focus onto that particular cell phone connection, no matter where it is.
I'm not sure why. I don't know why she had to. That's definitely, it's one of those like, Don said they talked all the way home and they didn't lose signal, but then he said he's seen the cops when he got there, so he knew they hadn't found her. Yeah, he did. Exactly. Because he would know that they didn't find her if he was talking to Candace all the way.
Right. So let me show you this. Bear with me a second here.
Oh, you're good. I'm going to tell Dee Dee, thank you. So I showed him earlier. I was going on and on about these cards earlier.
I make a big to-do of this on my channel. Don Wells, everybody thinks that Don Wells took 81, this 81 to get home. Look over here. This is not far from where his where the meadows are and where his boss's office is. What's that road name?
Which one?
Tennessee.
81. What'd you say?
Tennessee Route 81.
Yeah.
It's a county road. That's the 81 he took to get home. That's the way he would have gone home and gone to work. It was through off of 81 here, which goes through Fall Branch.
Where was people thinking that? So it's a different road. It's a county road.
And people keep thinking he took the interstate.
Oh, okay.
The county road, the reason I'm pointing this out, the county road 81 turns into 93, which comes up into Kingsport. I was mentioning earlier that he would have taken a route that had no cameras, and he knew a route that had no cameras. He had to actually go up over here to get under 81. He would have gone all the way out here to get under 81, okay, which takes you over to Horton Highway, which right there. It wiggles around a little bit, but it takes you over to Horton Highway. Look where is a place he would have avoided that would clearly have had cameras all around this intersection.
Is that Eastman?
No, ma'am.
What is that?
This is a Tennessee Highway Patrol station.
Yeah.
He avoided the highway. He avoided the state police. Eastman is actually in the middle of Kingsport.
Because yeah, you're right. But so you think it would have made more sense if he took the highway, is what you're saying? And he purposely took a county road?
No, time wise, the time that he tries to tell everybody it took to go home, it makes more sense that he took the back roads than gotten on the highway. Because he could cut out 10, 15-minute time frames or time slots by taking back roads that don't exist on maps and going over the mountains.
Man, I don't know those roads, but I mean, he's not a local, but he's lived there for a while. So
he's been living here long enough that he would have been familiar with the roads.
Yeah.
What ones to not take and what ones to take.
Yeah. I believe Jody Sue is a hustler, and what hustlers do, easy ways. What car do you think he was in?
Oh, he took the Subaru.
Yeah. And it says, isn't there OnStar? Well,
Yeah.
that's one of his alibis.
Actually, it's not. If you have listened to the lab, I think it was about 3 weeks ago now, he actually talked about that and had a phone conversation recorded with Don Wells. He never listed the GPS system that the vehicle had as one of his alibis.
Really?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, I think he somehow got Candace scared because I don't know. I just kind of, my theory is different, different than yours, but I just
please
feel
don't.
like, well, for the longest time, I thought it was like mostly Candace and like Jody Sue and Andy. But now I feel like Dawn is like, instead of it being Candace as the main one, I feel like Dawn was like definitely the main person that kind of arranged everything. I feel like it has to do with trafficking or something. And Andy, and I mean, because why did Andy go into Ben Hill that day? And why is he trying to lie about being on Ben Hill Road? I mean, law enforcement has him on camera. Well, according to Fred, law enforcement knows for a fact he was on that road that day from 3 to 3:30. So, and he never goes. He would have no reason to go down to the end of Ben Hill Road where Fred is. It's not really the end, but you know what I mean, where it switches off to what you're. And there was just a lot of weird things that was happening on that road. Nobody goes on Ben Hill really, especially way down where it turns into the dirt road, like you talked about, past the Y of Simpson Loop. Really, people don't go past that.
No, they don't.
They don't unless they're local from the area, because I don't know. It's kind of scary looking too, I guess. I remember Yennefer felt kind of weird when we got around there. She's like said that she always would turn around when she got to that point.
Well, that's actually an excellent point, is that's what most people would do if they realized they were in a wrong area or they made a wrong turn somewhere. They would turn around and just go back. They don't venture deeper into it than they have to. Yeah. And which brings up an excellent point, and not to change what you were saying, but one of there's funny, ironic things that Don always says is that people would just randomly park on Ben Hill Road. You are a person that's been on Ben Hill Road. I've been on Ben Hill Road. You cannot park on Ben Hill Road.
Yeah, he's so full of it.
You literally cannot park on Ben Hill Road, folks. It is a 2-lane road, but it's one car up, one car down, and they're getting 2 cars going in the opposite direction at the same time.
Right. You have to to let somebody by, especially past that Y that he was talking about. You're going to have to scoot over. Just like Fred, this is how he knows for a fact Andy was on that road that day, because him and Laura were in their vehicle and they had to pull off to the side of the road to let Andy by.
You almost have to put your car at tires on one side into the ditch along the road.
Yeah, but rarely are you going to be in a situation where that even happens, where you pass anybody on Ben Hill,
Mm-hmm.
I don't think one time I passed somebody, but besides that, and they were coming from, I believe, probably from the Redmonds, but I'm going to
send you a link to, I don't know if you want to go and share this or not, but it's a unique tie. This is what I was actually researching a little while ago.
You can share anything you want to if you're wanting to show everybody.
Okay. This is a unique tie and we'll go into a little bit about Cobb County, and Knoxville and Rogersville a little bit more.
Interesting.
Yes.
Are you going to share it?
I'm about to.
Yeah, go. Can you? Because I'm gonna go. Can you? Is it okay if I mute for just like a minute? I'll
Yeah,
still be listening.
do what you gotta do. I understand.
I'm gonna be listening because this is interesting. I can't. That he has a. I see what you're saying because this has ties to Rogersville.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, we're gonna get into this a little bit here.
Oh my god.
Hang on one second here.
Okay, cool.
I apologize.
All right. So this was
for people arrested.
This was just this year.
This was not even 3 weeks ago.
Okay.
This was not 3 weeks ago. Did I share you the right one?
I think so, yeah. It has 4 arrested. Scotty Burton.
Okay, no, okay. I shared you the right one. I gave you the right link, but for some reason I'm pulling up the wrong link on my side. Hang on one second here.
Okay.
That's a different article that we can actually get into in a moment.
What do you mean, Bertie? As far as did he say how far down the road he went? Who's he? Andy went all the way down to over by Fred Hills and the Redmonds, and met some guy in I don't know for a guy. I'm somebody in a truck who also. I mean, you don't see people like the fact that he's meeting somebody down at the end of Ben Hill is freaking so sus.
It is. It really is. Let me make sure I give you the right.
You don't go down there, and he has no reason to be down there.
Yeah, Ben Hill Road is not a street that you go to unless you have intended business there.
His house. He lives right up, at 125, way up towards the front.
Okay, I have a share request to you. Yep, I got the right one up.
Okay, cool.
All right, so
mute for just a minute.
Sure. So to give you a little bit of background on this, there has been a multi-state investigation going on for several months about certain illegal drugs being with fentanyl, cocaine, and so on. They did a investigation that they titled the 313 investigation or 313 initiative, and that's what this is all about. The reason that this is so interesting is not so much that there were people arrested. That was going to be inevitable that people got arrested in Knoxville, which is the area they were focusing on. The interesting thing is that this actually has connections to Detroit, Rochester, New York, and I believe there was one other city outside of Tennessee. Within Tennessee itself, there's 2 arrests that were made. I'm not playing this video, so this is just an example of all the different points. This video right here, all the different points that they had investigated, going from Detroit down to Knoxville, Tennessee. But there is connection that I just highlighted. On Tuesday, authorities rounded up Burton at his Rogersville home and James Simpson in Knoxville. Simpson was in Hawkins County. Burton and Simpson are actually notorious, some actually pretty local names that you should be throwing up a red flag if you follow everything that's happened around Ben Hill Road, even before Summer Wells.
Are you talking about the other little girl that went missing? Carly
Trent.
Carly Trent?
Yes.
Oh my gosh, this even goes into my theory of the trafficking and that Carly Trent is involved, that Carly Trent is not involved, but it's like related. I feel like.
So Gary Simpson, where I'm still working on the genealogy and trying to track it and everything like that. stupid ads, random ads. Somehow I get the most random ads. So
because you're on a drug site or something about drugs.
No, the ad that just flew by was for women's clothes. And I'm like, I get the most random ads. It's like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But the connection that happens, okay, it doesn't say Cobb County specifically, but in order to go from Knoxville to Rogersville, you go through Cobb County. What I can say safely and comfortably about Cobb County, and Ziggy, you can elaborate on this because the conversation we were having the other night, you know more. As a local person, there is a group of individuals that have a lot to do with conspiracy theories, a lot to do with trying to cover up information and make things look like they are not what they seem to be. And it's not just one individual that has ties to an organization. It's also this particular area has ties to international organizations. I'm going to leave it as that.
Like motorcycle gangs?
Yeah, we can go there.
Okay.
But I'm saying international for a reason. So in order for them to traffic this through Cobb County, those individuals would have been involved in this, so it would safely get through. Otherwise, the police would have busted them in Cobb County. But yeah, that's how drugs traffic flow into Tri-Cities area.
So that is exactly the first thing I thought of. Okay. I thought of something else. You said one of them was from New York or something?
Rochester, New York. One of the men and people that were arrested were from Rochester, New York.
How close is that to where what's Hunter's dad lives? Because I feel like that's all involved too. That whole van load of people that came down to Ben Hill Road a few months before summer, with Jose and stuff.
Sure. You're not far away at all. Rochester's upstate New York.
What's the name of that city again? They're from Rochester.
So I'm not playing this video, but the big thing of this is this map here that shows up is that this is the flow of traffic. It was actually coming into Detroit and then being distributed south and landing up in Knoxville, Rogersville, Tennessee.
He's on ties to Andrew Hiltz. Yeah, I mean, Killer is welcome to come up here. I almost asked him if he wanted to, because, but yeah, okay. So both. What's the city name, Sheba? I want to see how far away. Because I swear that whole freaking coming down to Tennessee with a car full of people. Of Mexicans, I mean, that is supposedly a year, or no, it wasn't car full. Yeah, I heard a car full of Mexicans. Then I heard, it was Andrew and his brother and his kids, and I don't know.
That's what I always heard. It was about 4 kids in the cars. I believe it was actually more so a family trip than anything else.
Jose or his son was arrested in Rochester, New York for drugs. How do you know that? I'd love to see. I mean, it's hard to find anything on Jose because his name's so common, and I'm not even. I'm really good at research, but I haven't been able to. I haven't looked into this, into the mortuary that supposedly Jose was at.
I've never been intrigued to look into that. I take Jose for what he is that he's a witness to the background information that explains a lot about the Wells.
See, I don't know. That whole thing, that whole trip is so suspect. I didn't think anything of it at first, like, because I thought he was. I think it's really telling. Like, I think that he feels guilt about something, and that's
Mhm.
why, I feel like he went through that horrible depression. And I don't know. It's just a theory. I know that I didn't want to believe it either because I thought he seemed like a really nice guy.
Mhm.
But I think possibly he was somebody else when he was using drugs or alcohol, whatever it was his. So Jose or son arrested in Rochester. Oh, killer showed it. So Gloversville is actually 3 hours away from Rochester.
Relatively for New York in that area, though, to be honest, that's not far away.
I mean, I guess if they, yeah, I mean, it's still my ears perked up when you said New York, though, and
Mhm.
especially when I saw immediately when you sent that article and I saw Simpson, I immediately thought of Carly Trent and like
Yep.
how.
Yep. So the one person that is was arrested from Rogersville, her name is Summer Simpson.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been working on finding more information, and this is what I was working on hard. I mean, I was deep in looking at white pages for trying to find a connection to property, trying to find. I'm still working on it, but there is only one person named Summer Simpson in Rogersville,
Mm-hmm.
and her mother's name. I'm not going to out her mother's name yet because I don't have that connection that I think is there. Um, is pretty chilling. And I have a funny feeling that spider webs are getting weaved
Mm-hmm.
together, type of deal, and they're very closely knit. If you follow
You
what
mean
I
that?
am saying,
Yeah, between the Summer Wells and Carly Trent cases, or
yes,
I
yes.
know, I
Yeah, I'm
know,
trying to indirectly say that, but
I
yes,
know.
basically that's it.
I know that's what you have to be careful. I know that's when it starts to get scary because you start getting into people who are higher up and law enforcement and stuff when you start because yeah, I've
Hmm.
seen some really crazy connections. And right before Jim passed away, I was really looking into that and that's why I was more afraid to hang out in Hawkins County. And actually when I was over at Jason Arnold's mom's house, which they don't really like her too well because she thinks they're all crooked down there at Hawkins County because Jason Arnold, he was also murdered and, it's kind of a mystery surrounding his death. And
Hmm.
his mom thinks that they, they, she thinks the killer's still out there. And anyways, but she's gave the law enforcement a little bit of hell, I guess. But when I was over there, Hawkins County kept going by, and I'm like, I kind of wonder. I made me a little bit nervous.
Right.
But that be just because I was talking so much around that time about Ronnie Lawson and that whole situation with his son. And when I was looking into his son, I noticed like Ronnie Lawson's son, Brandon, lives in a house that
Hmm.
was gifted to him by the church, that Baptist church he was a deacon at. And then I saw like the ownership of the church and the name Roger Stewart. The Stewarts they're all mixed in that too.
Yeah, yeah.
Roger Stewart has several sons, Kevin Stewart, and I forget the other one, but they're all, I just call them basically one entity, even though it's like, because it's a family. He switches the name, like the ownership of the houses, and I don't know how he does it, and his son's names, and switches things around all the time. And that church, whatever one what's it called? The Burham Church. Burham Church. That's the one that Roger Stewart has some type of, or his son, Kevin Stewart, is showed as like the owner, not really the owner, but the head, like he's, what would you call it? I don't know if there's really owners of churches. Is there?
Yes, actually there is.
Well, then maybe it is.
Typically a church will have a board.
I was thinking, there you go, a board. Either he's on the board or he's the owner.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, typically a church will have a board of elders, and they are actually the ones that are that manage the property, manage the business aspect of the church. Then the minister himself is an employee of the church.
So I'm glad that you're looking into some of this stuff, because it sounds like it does get scary though, because it does seem like all this stuff ties together, but then that wouldn't really go with your theory though of the accident cover-up.
Well, no, you're right, and it doesn't, and this is why I even though I simply say, my personal idea, my personal thought is, like I said, Occam's Razor. It's what makes the most sense.
Yeah.
However, something like this, it definitely deserves to be dug into, because it could change my whole entire thought completely. Or this can be just a coincidence of a name and not even related. But you got to dig into these things. You can't sit there and just go, "Oh, I know everything." And no. Only the police know everything. And since I'm bringing them up, I think they're very close to going to a grand jury.
I hope so. I really hope so.
I think the delay that they want, or delay that they're having, is that they desperately want to find Summer, either recovery or to find her alive or unalive. They want Summer as that final piece of evidence, and then it's just going to be done and over, very quiet. People are going to get rounded up. Locals are going to find out about it, and then it's going to spread with the news and everything else.
Yeah, I hope so. I really hope so. I've heard rumors of that, so I don't know.
I've been feeling and thinking that it's going to go through grand jury for about a year now. And if you had talked to me last year about this, I would have said there are a few pieces of information away. I really think they're down to they desperately want to find Summer.
Yeah, or either that or something like I don't know. Maybe they just don't have enough evidence, like to make sure. Maybe they have evidence, but just not quite enough to, they want to make sure they get them and get whoever did this. And, that way it's not like they don't make any mistakes. I'm hoping it's something like that. Really, I hope so. I would love for us to, can you guys imagine what YouTube's going to be like if Summer's found? I mean, alive or unalive, that's going to be a crazy day on YouTube.
It will be.
They're asking if did you used to have a channel called Renegade Patriot?
No.
Okay.
To be honest, I actually did not have an interest in doing a YouTube channel until I was talking. For a while, I was on a channel that doesn't exist. I was helping that person out a little bit, and then I started talking with John Q. And between John Q, Miss Q, and Carrie Lawson, who's in your chat, and one other person that I believe is lurking. I won't mention their name so they don't feel obligated to say hi. It kept going. You really need to have your own channel and things like that. So what even though I spent a lot of time talking through their channels, those channels, I finally had enough and just decided, I'm ready to try to have my own channel and talk about this, and I did.
Well, we're glad that you made a channel. I'm interested on this article to look into these people and see if they have any connections to Dawn.
Oh, please do. I'll be more than happy to give you more information in the background. That way I'm not giving information out publicly, because I know ages of people as well.
Yeah.
And approximate and locations.
Yeah, I've done for a while. I had Ancestry is a really good research tool, ancestry.com, and I made a bunch of trees, family trees. I haven't done I don't think I have any of that, the Simpsons. So I don't know,
well, Simpson is a family name that has ties to near, not directly Ben Hill Road, but there's Simpson Loop right behind, and that is a family name. The family. I apologize.
You're fine.
That was random on its own. I apologize.
No problem.
Yeah,
I think I don't know if there probably is a Simpson that lives there on Simpson Loop or Ben Hill, I'm sure.
Or at one time have, but they're definitely tied to Rogersville.
Yeah, I'm not sure though if Bernard's or Bernard, Andy might be related to the Simpsons. Is he?
Bernard's, Bernard. I'm saying the name Bernard is tied to there. That it's not. It's been a few generations.
Yeah, I just know. So Fred Hill and Andy Bernard are related. They're not cousins. They're I don't believe it. It's cousins. They're not first cousins or anything. I'm trying to remember. So Fred's dad is sister, or with Polly's, I think Polly's Polly isn't Polly brother and sister. I have to pull up it's been so long, but they're related. And I do think there's some Simpsons in both, in Fred Hill and Andy are related. pretty closely related, but they're not close as far as in friendship or anything. But I do believe there's Simpson in their family tree.
Right. Okay, so Jane Don't asked a question that kind of slipped by, which is a real quick question. I am in Tennessee. I will tell you that I live in vicinity of Kingsport.
Yeah. So at this point, I think they have enough for grand jury. They have enough. I don't think finding the remains would overly delay the decision to go to grand jury.
No, I agree that they're really, really close to having the theory right, and I believe they know more than what they've released publicly. But I think they want that final piece to be either rescue or recovery of Summer Wells. It's so much easier for them to have the recovery or rescue to pursue charges than it is to do without.
Why the double RJ? Sorry, I was eating a cereal bar.
My nickname is RJ. And YouTube required more than just RJ for a username.
Okay, yeah.
So I just did RJ space RJ.
Okay, yeah.
There's nothing, no surprise to that one. Sorry.
No conspiracy theory behind it. You know how YouTube is.
Oh yeah.
It's yeah, I know how that works. Cause I have my account is my name, my Google account that this is tied to is Jane. I was gonna just put a first name, and it wouldn't let me. I put Jane Doe. But somehow I was able to edit it and not put like I think there's a way you can edit that so you don't have to like double RJ, but whatever.
Yeah. Well, I just
No
kept
biggie.
it. I
No
simply just
biggie.
kept it.
But let's see what else.
Sheba
Well, let's
Mom's
see.
got a good question.
Does RJ know if law enforcement has been doing searches that we just haven't heard about?
Yes. I haven't heard of, and I've lost track of when they have been searching, where they have been searching for a while. Going back to June 15th this past year is the last time I knew of anything going on.
Mm-hmm.
They changed tactics. They're not doing ground searches, but they continue to put up drones and reviewing and studying video footage with the drones. And like I said, I lost track June the anniversary date last year, but up until then, I knew they were.
Yeah, I haven't heard much since then either. I mean, I know that the guy, does the guy that's come on, uh, what's his YouTube channel's name? Not Chris McDonough, but he used to be a detective in New York. What's his name? Ron or
Duty Ron?
yeah, Duty Ron. The guy that came on there on his channel and talked about he does the drone out there in Ben Hill sometimes.
Mhm.
I met him over at he was down at I didn't know who he was at the time, but I saw him flying a drone.
Mhm.
And I didn't think that he was out there looking for, they were looking for summer
Yeah.
out there over at the Redmonds past Fred Hill. So
Yeah. Unfortunately, like I said, I've lost track. The last time, the reason I really honestly know about the drone is that WJHL had did an article. I believe it was right around June 15th this past year, where they were saying they were talking about how they had to switch the tactics and it was no longer feasible or possible to be continue to have ground feet on the ground searches type of deal. And they were going to continue searching, but they had to do so from drones. It was more feasible.
right, especially with the terrain and stuff out there, how bad. I mean, I just don't know how people could search I'm guessing what I would think somebody would do with all those hills and out there, if they're going to get rid of a body, and I don't mean to be graphic or anything, but I would think that they could just there's so many drop-offs.
Mm-hmm.
How would anybody ever find, unless they had a drone to, that I guess he said from a mile, I don't know how many feet up, but that it could see, or it could sense like even heat and
You're
certain
talking about
color.
a FLIR radar?
I don't know what it is.
FLIR?
I don't know. They use drones with it.
Yeah, some drones are built with FLIR FLIR radars, which is the same technology that fire departments use when they're searching for a person in a fire.
Mm-hmm.
They'll it's actually an infrared heat signature they're searching for.
Okay.
I don't know if that would be usable at this point,
Right.
or was really usable to go through that kind of search beyond just a couple days after some are gone missing. But I know they are trying to they have been searching throughout the area. Ronnie Lawson at one time had said, and I don't know what press conference off the top of my head, but I know he did say this, that there was a 5-mile perimeter that everybody was considered to be a person of interest in.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And that has everything to do with how much ground that a child her age could cover, and it being mountainous. From what I can figure, that they were searching throughout that whole entire 5-mile radius trying to find her.
Yeah. I'm thinking, man, how far away do you think she is from, like, you think she's pretty close?
Oh yeah, yeah, she's close. She's close.
I'm thinking she's like, she has to be within travel distance at the very most. Like she would have to, I mean, an hour at the very most, because how would they have? Yeah, I think at the very most, an hour travel time.
If some of the we were mentioning Cobb County, if she is to be recovered, or excuse me, rescued, and it is has to do with that particular county, it's going to be difficult to find her, more difficult than you would think, because of the connections, international connections that they have there. I honestly do believe. I don't want to be a downer. I know a lot of people still have hope for Summer to be found alive. I believe at this point it is recovery, not rescue. I believe it's been recovery for a long time.
Yeah. Unless, I think best case scenario is that they, sold her to a family or something. That's like best case scenario.
Mm-hmm.
Because especially hearing these rumors about Marlena Crawford and supposedly with being caught with a bunch of birth certificates, and the rumor about how she's supposedly a middleman in between. She tries to find families who want to buy children on the black market, and then families who want to sell children. I mean, craziness. This Marlena Crawford, I think knows a lot, but why was Candace seen on Light Hollow Road? Was she the day that Summer went missing? Was she? Do you remember that? About her being on
that's never been proven one way or the other, from my understanding.
That's probably just rumored.
Light Hollow Road is just like saying you're going to go down the next street over.
Right.
It might be a 10-minute drive.
Yeah, it's not very far.
But it's really just the next next road over.
Yeah, that's where Haskell Rhines lives, and is that off over there? I think that's the road. There's like light. I think isn't there like Light Road, and then there's Light Holler. There's two different like light. It's confusing. There's like a.
It's going to be called. It's Light Road, but if you're local, you're going to call it Light Holler.
Oh yeah, he suspects Fred suspects Marlena big time. Yes, that's his number one suspect. I would say. He goes, I don't know why people aren't talking to Marlena. She was staying there over on the hill for several weeks before Summer went missing. Somehow she's just because she wasn't there the day that the day of the birthday party thing. She had already left at that point. Because remember, Allie Grandis brought her daughter home, I think. I don't know. But yeah, Fred definitely does suspect Marlena. He said, and everybody I talked to says she is bad news.
I've never been able to move away from for suspects four main persons that were on Ben Hill Road at the time that Summer disappeared. And each and every one of them, except for one, has been talking a lot on YouTube.
Yeah. Yeah. I was always my top three was always like Candace, Jody Sue, and Andy Bernard. And I always thought, I thought maybe Don could be innocent, and but recently I've seen the light. And I feel like Candace does act like she's brainwashed in a way. Or not brainwashed, but she just is not like, she's not like, she's like a teenager in her mind, and she would be very easy to manipulate. And Dawn is very good at manipulating. So I'm not saying she's like some kind of victim as far as if she knows something about Summer, which I believe she does, then she should have to, be punished for that, because she's had plenty of time to come forward if she knows something. It's just, I kind of wonder if I kind of feel like Candace knows, or like she knows down deep in her heart, because I think she knows, but she still kind of holds on to hope. I think she knows that Dawn took her somewhere.
Katie Kitty, you know something, don't you?
Oh, yeah. Jody Sue is a pole dancer. Thank you, Pink Phoenix. Is that what you're talking about?
Oh, yeah. So the Mouse's Ear has connections to Kingsport.
Yes,
Johnson City.
Yeah.
And Knoxville.
Yeah, I know. We talked about the Mouse's Ear. That all came up too when we were talking about that whole story, that lady that contacted me about the lady in the night. And yeah, Jody Sue, that's another thing that makes Jody Sue used to work at the Mouse's Ear. And there's rumors even that Ronnie Lawson used to go in there. I don't know if that's true. That could be totally made up,
Yeah, I would lean toward that. Just if he did, it probably would have been with his wife,
or a long time ago.
Right. And depending on which one you go to, Kingsport doesn't exist anymore, but depending on which one you go to, not either Knoxville or Johnson City, that may be welcomed more than you want to know. But we're not here to talk about that.
No, I think it could possibly tie in. I do feel like there's a Kingsport connection. I think there's a reason why Andy Bernard doesn't come on. He's just smarter. He doesn't come on here and talk because he's just, I guess I feel like, doesn't want to tell on himself. Like I feel like Jody Sue does.
Yeah, he's a blue collar worker type. That's typical for around here. It's get up 6 o'clock in the morning, go to work, put in a long, hard day's work, go home, work on your house. Then not sit down at a computer like some of us do. Some of us do for work and whatnot. Mm-hmm. He's definitely a blue collar worker type of person.
Yeah. So you don't suspect them at all?
Expect who?
Suspect them, like Jody Sue, or you think she's just guilty of some other stuff?
Oh no, you misunderstood what I said. I said that the people that were on Ben Hill Road on June 15th, that lived on Ben Hill Road on June 15th, I'm very suspicious of 4 adults.
Okay.
Yeah. I'll tell you who I'm suspicious of. That's not an issue.
Okay, who's that?
I believe that either they had direct hands or they're involved in covering this up, but it is Jody Sue Brown, Grandma, Candace, and Don. I've never wavered on that. It's always been those 4.
So you still believe Grandma Candace or Grandma Candy? You still believe that? Well, you just say you never wavered, so I guess so.
I've always believed that it's so much her having direct, but she has knowledge. And at this point in the time, that it's been so long that that knowledge now is criminal, because what has happened or what did happen, should have been handled differently. Even if it was that, as my thought is that it was a heat related illness, you go to the hospital, and if they can do something that's like at the point of a heat stroke and they can reverse it,
Right.
then you deal with CPS and you move on and say, hey, look, it was a mistake to have her in the car. We know better now. And you suck it up, you deal with it, and you work with the hospitals, the physical therapy, whatever she may have needed to prove that, yeah, you're a good parent and you actually have good intentions. You're not there to be
Right.
a horrible parent. Then it's a whole different ball game. But that's not what they did in my mind.
Yeah. I know at one point that's what I'm saying. If let's say if like Candace, like in my theory that I believe that Candace might just have guilty knowledge. Like I feel like she's been told something, because I do believe she probably contacted Dawn, like you said, and I do believe she met up with them. And after that, I don't know if she's really, I think she's trying to just not know the truth. Like she doesn't want to believe it. She doesn't want to believe that.
Annabelle, and that's probably what happened. Annabelle is probably the panic was that you realize that Summer was in a dire situation, and that's why I said I believe she called Don. She didn't call 911. She didn't try to get to the house. She called Don to say, "What do I do?" And it's like Don convinced her that just bring Summer to her, and we all know the story of how they were two peas in a pod, so to speak. That he thought that her just bringing her down to him and him saying, "Come on, Summer, wake up! You got to move around. You can't be sleeping all the time," type of deal would be enough to wake her up. But it was actually that point where, for those who have been a parent, when they're around an ill child, they'll be perfectly fine running 100 miles an hour and then crash.
Yeah.
There's no just like, and with an adult, you can feel you're getting sick and so on and so forth. It's 100 miles an hour and crash.
True. Yep. Well, do you have anything else you want to add? Unless you want to add anything, I
would add one more piece of information, and I'll send you a link so you can go ahead and share this with your folks, and you can have it. This actually just happened today. Everybody criticizes for the Tennessee and Kingsport area or Tri-Cities area for being lackluster on human trafficking and things like that. From my experience, that's not the case. This WBIR is a news station out of Greenville. When you can't find information locally on things that are going on, you either go to Knoxville or you go to Greenville's news stations. They'll have it. But this particular news link that I just sent in the private chat.
Oh, okay.
Is a news story of Bristol, from Bristol today, or a story of something that happened in Bristol today.
Okay.
Tri-Cities area is actually a very beautiful and nice area, and the Wells have given the Tri-City area, or put a rather nasty bruise or black eye on the Tri-Cities area.
My computer is like, okay. That looks like where's the names here?
Well, if you scroll up at the top, it'll just give you the what this is all about.
Trafficking in Bristol. How far is Bristol from there?
20-minute drive, 30-minute drive. Think of the Tri-Cities as being an upside down triangle, with Johnson City being at the southern point in Washington County. Bristol is on the northeast side. It goes into Virginia, but it starts in Sullivan County and goes east from there. And then on the northwest side is Kingsport.
The Tennessee Bureau of Investigation said it arrested 11 men accused of seeking to have sex with children after a human trafficking sting. According to the TBI, special agents with the human trafficking unit worked with officers with the Bristol Police Department and others on a 2-day undercover operation in Northeast Tennessee. Agents said they placed several decoy advertisements on websites known to be linked to prostitution and commercial sex cases starting on March 9th, saying they wanted to nab people trying to engage in commercial sex acts with children. In the end, they arrested 11 men, including one man from Morristown. So Jonathan Michael Campbell.
I don't think you would recognize any of the names as far as tied to Summer Wells or Kingsport.
Well, you never know. Sometimes you don't think you would, and then
right. I think there may be one Kingsport name on there, but it's not related to Summer Wells. But the point is that even if this Summer Wells hadn't been missing, and that be the main focus of what we were talking about tonight, things like this still happen in Tennessee. It just unless you know exactly where you're looking for and what you're looking for, they just fly under the radar. They're not a public focus like they are in some major cities.
Yeah. So Morristown. That sounds how far is Morristown? That's pretty close too, isn't it?
Morristown, I think that's going to be southwest of Tri-Cities area, more towards it's not all the way out towards Knoxville, but it's going to be like out that direction.
I remember it coming up somehow. We've talked. I forget where Morristown came up, but it's come up before in conversation, and I can't remember where. But whatever. Ziggy and RJ, please talk to Killer Looks about that land where footprints were found. See, I don't know. I just never been really interested in the footprints.
Neither have I.
I just don't think.
I'll be totally honest. Because of the length of time it was till they were found, it was like, okay, so you had a kid that was about the same age, same height, same weight as Summer playing out there, and afterwards you found a footprint.
Yeah. I don't know. To me, it's just, I mean, how do you find a footprint? It just doesn't interest me very much.
Yeah, it doesn't. It's like a misnomer more than anything else. So Morristown is probably about 33 minutes away from Tri-Cities area. It's like west of Johnson City more than anything else.
Okay. Yeah, I remember looking it up for some reason. I can't remember. So Amy Lawler says that Candace has stated that if she did not give Summer to Dawn, Summer would still be here. Do you know where we could find that? Because I know that Candace has thrown Dawn under the bus like many times when he was in jail. And I thought a few times, I thought a couple times, especially like one time, I thought Ernie was really close to getting Candace to tell him the truth. I thought
how do I say? He's too involved and you don't know how.
He's too involved and you don't know how? Is that what you said?
Mm-hmm. He's too involved and you don't know how. And this is where I was alluding to earlier about Cock County, and there's only certain things I would be willing to say about that.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. You're right. It is Ernie that was first brought up, Cock County. Mm-hmm.
He's too involved. He's more involved than you know. And that's so forgive me if I let you speak on that and not answer.
Well, that I do remember him they're him being out there, something about a racetrack, or I don't know. But
Fairgrounds, living
yeah,
out there.
yeah, and also they have like his buddies have like a little restaurant out there, like the one whatever her name is, Tina or whatever. They opened up some kind of little restaurant out there, and that's over by this. Yeah, I really looked in the motels close to Cobb County because I just feel like there's something up with that area. I don't. And also some psychics. I know a lot of people don't believe in that, but particularly what's her name? Mermaid. Anyway, she was mentioning Cobb County, and we started looking at the motels because when that lady told me about, it's not where Dawn went was not in Knoxville, but in the outskirts of Knoxville. So like, I'm wondering, like, is Cobb County like would that be outskirts? That's not really outskirts. That's kind of far.
Outskirts of Tri-Cities area?
No, Knoxville.
No, yeah, no. This is that's a country county. That's if you don't know you're there or you're going through there, you would not pay any attention.
I think it's on the way though. Like right, like
yeah.
Like it's so on the way to Knoxville, you're going to go through Cobb County, right?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I feel like that. I don't know why. I just think that there was some type of meeting there.
G Crime, I am actually a resident in the Kingsport area, and I have been following Summer Wells missing case since the 911 dispatch call. The job I work at, I actually do work from home, and that particular day, June 15th, is during our slow period and I had my police scanner on and heard the dispatch call go out.
Wow.
And I have actually followed it since then.
That's crazy.
That's how come I know how much is around town, around Tennessee, and what is going on. And Ziggy has been very gracious to include a link to my channel in her description of her show tonight.
Yeah, and everybody should sub up like real quick while we're thinking about it to get him to. I know he's not going to monetize because he can't because of his job. At least this channel, this true crime channel. But what do you think about Tim Mullins? Somebody wants to know.
Needs to take his foot out of his mouth and keep his own 2 cents in his pocket.
Yeah, because Dawn makes him look dumb. I maybe
right.
No.
You ever hear the saying, "Doth protest too much, me lady"?
Yes. Yeah.
That letter he put out there of how he's no longer the meteor manager, if depends who he wants to take the wording of. It screams, "Doth protest too much, me lady."
Yeah. I kind of wondered if he did that whole thing, like that letter, if that was his decision just to try to make like he was separating from the Wells, like amicably. I kind of wonder if that was his way of separating himself from them instead of him speaking up for them and saying, oh, they're not going to be doing media anymore.
No. So everything that he had said in that letter and at that time was purely for separation of the gag order. Because if he had not put out that information, that the gag order applied to him as well. So they had to have that separation, that public separation that they did because of that. So he can go ahead and still continue to post information and decline it was from the Wells.
Oh. Smart thinking. That's true. because otherwise Tim would be a third party.
Right.
They would be using Tim as a third party to put out information you can't do when there's a gag order.
Exactly.
That makes a lot of sense. You think Tim knows? Oh, like they want to know. Sheba wants to know if you think Tim knows. I'm guessing about what happened this summer.
No, I actually believe he does no clue.
Mm-hmm.
He's not going to ask the questions that some YouTubers, I would believe you would want to ask, and a few other ones that I run around and actually talk with. We all come to agreement that we actually want to ask hard questions. We want to ask the questions and be consistent with Don. If we do speak to Don, that he refuses to answer and gets mad about. He's not going to ask those questions. He's going to try to remain in favor of the Wells to keep them speaking, but there's no substance there.
Sherry, I believe that. I could believe that he is undercover. That would make sense because
G Crime, no, I am not LE. I have no association with any law enforcement. I live in Tennessee. What I can say about my actual job, it's medical insurance related and pharmaceutical related. That's why you won't hear me talk about those type of things. It's too close to what I do for work. And because of how laws and regulations apply to me because of my job, it could actually get me in trouble with what I do.
Yeah. I think there's a couple people was wondering if you were law enforcement. But no. I have wondered if Tim was possibly undercover and working for law enforcement. I have wondered that. But I do think Tim, I believe he has right intention or good intentions. Some people who are Christian, and I don't know, I could see him either working for law enforcement or if he's not, then he could just be a Christian who believes in, I don't know. Some Christians are like how Robin is. That's.
Oh, yes. Oh, that's an interesting person to speak of.
Why is that? What do you think about her?
Oh, she's innocent. 100% innocent. But wherever, no, G Crime, you're fine. I don't mind. You're fine. I'm saying I can't answer beyond what I did for obvious reasons about my job. But anyway, Robin's innocent, 100% innocent. What people try to over criticize her on is something I've actually recently found out, and I was talking about on my last live. That the Seventh-day Adventist Church, the particular one in Kingsport, actually had a team that was prepared or trained to go searching for missing kids in the not only the town but in the wooded areas or surrounding, and the everybody criticizes her. A lot of people criticize her. My apologies, because they say she was too hyper about putting the water bottles and snacks into a backpack and wanting to go out searching. Well, she was actually one of these people that would have been trained because of her position within the church. She was a Sunday school teacher.
Yeah,
it would have been somebody to comfort the child if they found him.
Yeah, I don't think that she's involved. I just think that she really feels like she's doing the right thing and being a good Christian. Because
I'm sorry, I'm laughing at your chat, Jane. Don't.
Oh, that's fine.
No, but actually, that's exactly what I think she was actually saying. Is that not so she was giddy about searching, but she was going to be able to use something she had been trained to do, and she was like, okay, she was gearing up to do it, and it's just her memory of her adrenaline and her getting pumped for doing so. Not that she was happy to do so.
Yeah. Plus, that's her normal demeanor too. We can't like. She's normally a very happy person. That's her normal.
Very bubbly personality.
Yeah, yeah. So it's not out. It's not odd for her. Candace is using Robin, maybe, but she said in the case. Well, I think I'm ready to go. Unless you got anything else. You've
No.
brought a lot of interesting stuff to look into, because I want to look into that trafficking thing and anything else like you can send me. I like to research. If I find, as soon as I find some weird connection, for the next few days, I'm like,
yeah, no, I got you.
Stop.
No, I can be that way as well. And, sometimes I don't post a video or go live for like a week. It's because I just don't get happy. I'm not happy with where the information I'm finding or where it's leading yet. And I'm not going to just go throw something out there.
Yeah.
The name Conversations Living Room, it has, it's not just a name. It's, you come to my channel and you're going to be part of a conversation. And my whole premises is to hope that you're leaving inspired to not just take my word for it, but to take it a step further and look further into it.
Yeah. Yeah. I ask people all the time. I'll come on here in hopes, because I can't find everything myself, I want. So sometimes, like when I'm overwhelmed and I'm finding these connections, like I come on here and I'm hoping like if stuff I put out that people will look into too, because I'm not weird about having to have, I don't know. I don't feel like I want to put out the information so others could know it and hopefully find more. But some people, for some reason, want to keep that to themselves. And I don't know. I think it's best if we work together, but that's just my opinion. Because I get overwhelmed when I'm finding connections and stuff. And it's like, I feel like I have to put it out there. So, because I can't do it all myself.
Well, one of my persons that is or actually both of the persons that I have yeah, it's almost time for me to get off here. I'm forgetting words.
I know. I get like that when I'm tired.
One of the persons that monitor my chats and things like that and make sure everything's running smoothly. In fact, both of them are really, really good at researching. And so if I come up to them or throw something at them saying, hey, look, I'm not sure about what I'm finding. Can you double check me?
Right.
They're on it they're on it just as much as I am. And if I can't find an answer, they find an answer.
Yeah.
Type of person. So I've been very fortunate with them, having them as part of my team. When I say it's even though I say my channel because it's my name, but it's the three of us, and that do a lot of work on this.
Right. A lot of stuff that I find is from stuff people send me, me looking more into it. But a lot of the stuff that, sometimes it's stuff people send me like straight from them, or sometimes, a lot of times it's, they'll send me something and I'll look into it and find even more. And, you have to think, some people, I don't know, if you got a couple good like researchers on your team, that's awesome, because some people, I don't know. It's hard to find a really good researcher. Some people don't know. They just don't think outside of the box. Like you have to look into like Facebook likes and like, it takes a long time.
Oh yeah, it does. I'll put it this way. One of my researchers, they're both very, very good researchers. But one of my researchers, if I have a question and I doubt my answer, I'll throw it to them. And I can guarantee that I have an absolute solid answer when they give me information.
Yeah.
And I've done it many times where somebody will ask me a question and I'll be like, hey, so-and-so, and she's actually been in your chat, so I don't mind mentioning her, but Carrie Lawson, if I throw it to her and she'll be like, she'll give me an absolutely great answer.
Well, you're lucky then, because it's hard to find some people just, well, a lot of people don't have the time really, because a lot of this stuff takes like, you know,
Rabbit
a
trails.
long time, hours.
You develop long rabbit trails sometimes, and you don't land like where you land up, and you just can't turn back because you gotten so far.
I know, and sometimes if you stop then kind of like with the, you know, when my ex passed away, that kind of threw me off because I was, I was in one of those rabbit holes around about Lawson and stuff, and these cobweb connections between the Carly Trent and Summer and law enforcement and certain business people, and I didn't want to stop because if I stopped, then I would forget like how to get back where I was. I don't know. It just, I get into these long, and then I kind of forget. It's hard to, I don't know. I'm not very organized.
There you go, Ziggy. It looks like you have somebody you can speak privately to about some of the information that I only hinted at.
What, in Cook County?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Newport. That should be some firsthand information there.
Yeah, Newport is an area of interest.
Definitely.
Yeah, and there's something weird with that area, but especially since it was also rumored, Don was also rumored being seen there. So. Yeah, Wild Cherry, you're welcome to email me if you have anything to add. Because I love when you guys email me stuff because it gives me, seriously, sometimes you think that you've looked into everything, there is, but no, this goes so much deeper. I feel like
the little bit of information I was willing to provide to you about Cook County, if you dig into that, it takes you in a whole new direction of that whole entire county.
Yeah, I'll have to get back into it.
This is the kind of information, by the way, that I don't mind giving somebody. Because the whole anonymity thing that I was saying earlier, keeping up a veil.
Yeah.
It's smarter for somebody outside of the Tennessee area to be finding that information out than it is for me.
True. I don't blame you, seriously. And I'm not like a scaredy cat type person. I'm not like one that gets scared very easily.
I'm not scared of it. It's just being smart.
Yeah, but I have to admit, like, I was a little bit nervous this last time, and that was my third time being in the area, and I was nervous just because of the stuff I had been talking about around that time.
When you do come to the area again, let me know.
Okay.
We'll meet up at some point somewhere. We'll arrange to meet up somewhere at some point.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
And we'll take you around to some areas that I know are safe to go through because of being a local. And
that would, for sure, that would be awesome.
That would give you more information because, like I was saying to you the other night or last night, about there's some actually beautiful areas. There's Bays Mountain. To go up on Bays Mountain and go to the observatory and things like that.
Are you trying to kill me? Are you trying to kill me?
Oh, no.
Did you hear about? Do you know what I'm referencing?
No.
Oh, okay. Nothing. It's about Tiffany Marie, and she thought it's when a local, Christy Vincent, was trying to suggest that she check out Bays Mountain. Well, Tiffany Marie turned it into something like sinister, like, oh, she's trying to get me to go there so she can, kill me.
It's a huge campground and a park that has an observatory.
Yeah, it's just crazy. It's a very tourist. I mean, it's something that most people will want to go see when they go to that area. I mean, I haven't gone there because I've always been busy, trying to talk to people.
The only time I would say don't go on the Bays Mountain is in the spring and early fall when the bears are coming out, because if you Google Bays Mountain bears, you'll find that usually once a year a person gets attacked because they're camping in the wrong area.
Wow, people get attacked by bears out there?
Yeah, yeah. But it's because they weren't in the wrong area and they were camping there and they were being stupid, leaving food out and things like that. It's things that would attract the bear coming out of hibernation. It's not that the bears are like super aggressive and want to take out people. It's just people were stupid.
Yeah. I mean, they're in their, in their neck of the woods. We have to respect their habitat.
Exactly.
It's their home.
You're up in the mountains. You're in a mountain, literally the mountain that's in the middle of Kingsport, and there's going to be bears.
Well, I'm trying to convince, I've been going to that area like every 6 months. So if I keep up with that, it just depends if I'll be, I don't know. I just can't imagine being in a place where I can in 3 months, but we'll see. That would be in 3 more months.
Mm-hmm.
Because I've been going every 6 months but I would like, to meet up because I try to get Kraken Cases to go with me to meet Fred Hill. Everybody, why won't anybody go with me to talk to the dude?
Oh, I would.
Yeah. I want somebody to go with me so they could also, vouch or, see how Fred Hill is. So they could also experience, see for themselves.
I would imagine he's going to be the same way I described. He's a blue collar person. He goes home and he works on his house, works on his whatever, it works in his woodshed, whatever he's got out back. And he's not a person that's going to sit down and open up a computer and search the news for the day. No. He's just a blue collar guy.
You have to go out there to talk to him. It's very, very hard to get him to respond on Facebook Messenger. He's working on vehicles all the time. He trains horses. So that was kind of a conspiracy too with some people. But the thing is, I don't think he's had any horses out there since summer, around the time Summer went missing or since then. But at one point he did have horses out there and I guess use them as transportation. He used to live up there, up the mountain, like where you're talking about that what's that, Limestone?
Yeah, up Limestone Creek up there.
Yeah, he said that they used to live up the mountain, and I'm guessing I think that way, and they had to send their horses down to the bottom of the mountain to fetch the groceries, like when Laura would get back from the grocery store, and then they put the groceries on the horse, and she'd ride the horse back up there. Yep. Or something like that. I couldn't believe it. I'm like, oh my God.
There are still some people, and this is what I was saying earlier about people. Some people just still live the Appalachian way.
Yeah.
There are still people that live like that, and they will not change from it.
Yeah.
But I know you want to get off your stream and end your stream for the night. So I'm going to go ahead and say, have a good night. Okay. I hope to see everybody. Everybody's welcome when I go live again. It probably will be Wednesday night because it's the anniversary. But I hope to see everybody out there, and I hope to have a wonderful conversation with everybody about Summer Wells.
Okay, yeah. His link is in the description, and I'll drop it here again for everybody. Thank you so much for coming on. You'll have to come back sometime. Or if you want me to come on your channel sometime, I'm willing to.
Anytime, you're welcome.
Well, thank you. We'll
have a good night.
Soon. All right,
absolutely. Bye. Have a good night.
There's his link right there. Well, that was a pretty good conversation. He's pretty easy. I think he's pretty easy to listen to. So his channel should be a good one. Plus, we don't have very many men in the community, so it's always good to have another man perspective. Hey, gorgeous. Yeah, sorry, Gingy. I swear, I wonder if that was Fred's horse that ran off the news report. Oh, I don't know. I would love to know whose horse. I think supposedly, doesn't Cam know whose horse that was? Why do I think that Cam has mentioned who? I think Cam, I swear I've heard Cam say before whose horse that was. But I think Fred told me his horses are like he rents an area or something, or pays somebody to keep his horses. I'm pretty sure he said he pays somebody to keep it. I think. All right, G Crime. Thank you, God's Girl, and thank you guys so much for hanging out. And there's only been a handful of attacks in the last decade. Yeah. I don't think. I mean, if you go out there and you try to pet one of their cubs or something, they sure are cute, though. I went out to Katie's Cove. I don't know however you pronounce that. And I saw some, me and Jim sat there and watched the cub bears cross the road. We got out and we were wondering why we were in Katie's Cove. And when you know that there's something going on, when you get like a bunch of cars stopped and there's no moving, we were at we were in Katie's Cove and traffic was not moving. So we just me and Jim got out of the vehicle and kind of walked up a little bit, and we saw there was little baby cub bears crossing the road. And I have video of me and Jim there a few years ago. So now that was not when I went for Summer Wells. That would have been before I started talking about Summer Wells. Weren't they saying that was Frank Light? I don't know if they were saying it was Frank Light's horse. But that does kind of sound familiar. But for some reason, why am I thinking he said the Redmonds? I don't know. I don't want to put out the wrong thing. Because it's crazy how the littlest piece of misinformation turns into the biggest concocted story ever. Seriously, it's insane. You miss say something just a tiny bit, and it, how I saw Sherry's opinion. You're saying, oh, did he used to live at Ben Hill? No, he did not. RJ did not live at Ben Hill. We were talking about the picture. I showed a picture of, at the beginning, I showed a screenshot of some messages I had or an exchange I had with Fred recently. And I asked him if this one guy was Andy Paul, because somebody was saying it was Andy Paul. And Fred said, no, that's not him, and that he would try to get his real name for me. And I said, thank you. So hopefully we'll find out. I don't know, but I've been trying to ask him for a while. So, but that guy that in the red shirt that people were saying is Andy Paul, that's not him. I'll show it again, so people that weren't here earlier know what I'm talking about. That is not the Andy Paul, according to Fred. And I believe Fred. So, I mean, because Fred wouldn't lie for the guy, because he does not like him. I've never caught Fred lying straight up ever, but he's definitely not going to lie for this guy, because Yeah, but this is not the Fred. Here, let me see. I'll pull up my conversation with him again real quick. Okay, here's when I asking him if that guy is Andy Paul. And here's up here where he's saying, once again, he's saying TBI collected, some was animal bones and some was not. I don't know. You guys have to, I know it's just like you guys. I don't know if he's talking about that he knows for sure some of them were not animal bones. I don't know how to take that either. I'm not sure, like, if he knows for a fact. I was under the impression, I don't know. He told me last time I saw him too that TBI. I don't know how he would know that though, but he also is sticking by his story about Rose. He swears he met Rose. When Candace and Dawn first moved there. What year did, I don't think they got married till 20, I'm trying to think, for some reason I'm thinking 2012. What were you going to say yesterday about freaking Fred? This part right here, this is what I was going to show. I showed it earlier. He wanted people to know that he's not at all a supporter of the KKK. He gets so irritated too about the bones thing. He swear people were trying to pass around the story that it was a setup and stuff. If that was a setup, Fred would just have told me, because it wouldn't have been for me anyways, because nobody knew I was in town when I first met Fred. He didn't know who I was. I mean, it could, and Jody Sue didn't know I was down there. At that point, I don't think. It would have been, we figured it out, and it would have been right after that one group just left. So if he set something up, it would have been for them, and he would have just told me. I totally feel like Fred is not the type, he does not like, if he does not want me to know something, he just does not tell me. It's kind of sad though. She has the tracking device. And I think they said they tracked her with the GPS for about 6 months, going from South Cherokee National Forest in Georgia all the way back to Tennessee. Wait, who? Yeah, I mean, all of Fred's interviews should be up. Nuisance bear who was relocated from Great Stone Mountain National Park to Cherokee National Park last year, and she traveled 1,000 miles and even got hit by a car right back to 4 whole states. She went across 4 whole states. Oh, wow. Wow. Yeah, I do remember, but I don't. Jody Sue, I'm trying to remember though. You're right. I was thinking, I'm trying something that she didn't know I was there. I remember telling her when I was there, it was like, because I didn't tell people I was down there at first, but you're right. She did know I was there, but it was something about the timing doesn't add up. I can't freaking remember though. But you're right. I did tell her, and I told her when I was in Tennessee. She didn't know before I was in Tennessee. It was because I remember specifically, like I could see myself in my head right now when I was telling her on the phone. It was when I was stayed at Sulphur Springs that time. I was less than a mile away from where Brad lives. Yeah. Well, she didn't so much snub me. She kind of like tricked me into believing she was going to meet up with me, and I think she did that because she thought that she could manipulate me into, because I was and still am just a pushover, but I definitely was during that time, much more so. But I think she thought if she was nice to me and met up with me, if I believed that she was going to meet up with me, that maybe she could kind of control who I talked to. Because I had told her, I was like, I'm not going to lie. I would like to talk to Andy, and I asked her how she felt about that. And yeah, she kind of freaked out. So I told her, I was like, fine, I won't talk to Andy, So I think because of that she felt like she could maybe manipulate me and keep me from talking to certain people, maybe because she was trying to make me feel bad about, she said that the people on Ben Hill all the people on that road, like she just got off the phone with one of the people that live on Ben Hill, and they're crying because they're tired of all the YouTube stuff out there. But that was right around the time that Molly Golightly and Betty and them were out there, and Betty has the blowhorn and stuff. So my timing that I went out there was right after they had just left. For some reason, she wanted everybody to believe that was a setup between her and Fred. I think she wanted to discredit me and make me look bad. And make Fred look bad. That way I think more so make Fred look bad. She didn't want people to believe Fred. So if Fred was capable of setting something like that up to trick me and lie to me, then that means that he's probably a lie and lied about the information he told me. She made him look like he was complete. I'm sorry for, I don't have any better words to use, but she tried to make him look like he was a complete idiot and completely out of his mind, and just a complete liar, just criminal. He's just not like what she tried to paint him as. And the sad thing is, like, he didn't even throw Jody Sue under the bus. I mean, the worst thing that was said about Jody Sue was by Laura. Laura now said some things about her, but there was many times that he could have lied about Jody Sue and Dawn when I was asking about the drugs. And asking about other types of weird things going on out there. And, you know, thank you, Diana. I definitely would love to meet up with him. Because it would be nice to, I don't know, I want more people more creators that I don't understand. Like it's so hard. It's so, just as soon as somebody figures out any information usually on this app, people, I mean, it's everywhere, but for some reason, here we are like a year and a half after Summer went missing or has gone missing. And I talked to Fred for the first time about 6 to 7 months after Summer went missing. So the whole year's passed since then. And I've talked to him several times afterwards, and still nobody in this last year has gone and talked to Fred. Like nobody's even tried. Besides harassing him on Messenger when I'm telling you guys you're not going to get any type of communication from Messenger. I mean, you might get one response, but you won't, you're not going to get anything worth much. You have to kind of just run into him. And it's very easy to do so. He's always working on something. Either at his mom's. Well, if he's at his mom's, you're probably not going to see him because, like, that driveway is a really long driveway. And if he's working on anything at his mom's, he's going to be behind the house and you won't see him from Ben Hill because it's a long driveway. But if you are out and about around the area looking into stuff with some, places that have come up on YouTube in the area, like the little prayer garden and some of the churches and stuff, maybe you could go by there a few times during the day and you're going to run into him. And he's super friendly. He's going to wave to you. He waved to me like I didn't realize who he was. I wanted to stop him. Remember in the video, like when I first met him and I said, "Are you the guy that waved to us when we were," and he said, "Yeah." I know he's in chat. What's that mean to Cherry? Why is her daughter not doing well? Her daughter-in-law? She only has a son, doesn't she? That would be awesome, RJ. Yeah, even if you just like are out there sometime and you're willing, if you're out there by yourself sometime, and I know it's creepy going all the way down to the end of Ben Hill, but Fred is definitely not somebody to be scared of. Now he might if he like how he did me and sat there and was right on my ass, and it was dark. It was the middle of the night, and I was kind of freaking out, but I was like, okay, just act like you belong here. Even though I had Indiana plates, but I went straight to Fred Hill's driveway, and the person pulled in right next to me, and thank God it was Fred. He'll freak you out like that because he will record your license plate. Her daughter. Okay. I don't think she really had a biological daughter. Anyways, guys, if prayers to PG, whoever, her daughter or whatever. I don't want anybody sick. I don't mean that. I just like, you guys know what I think about that situation as far as who she is and stuff. It was a good conversation. Seriously. And once it went, it always, I've never had really a bad guess. Like, when you get two, or two or more people up on panel that are interested in the same thing, a lot of times you don't run out of things to talk about. All right, guys. I was sorry. I was still reading your guys' messages. Way better than Swear Garden. Oh, I mean, well, as far as a guest, like, not a one that's not interesting, Sheba. Maybe I have, but I can't think of any right off the top of my head. I mean, I've had some interesting ones just pop up out of chat that I would say were bad, but they weren't really guests that I asked to come on. But I'm sure I just can't think any right now. I mean, some were drama, but they were interesting. I mean, just like Fur Garden. I mean, some people might say that she's a bad guest, but like, people loved listening to her because she would go back and forth with people at the chat. And so I think that's why people liked her, because she would cuss people out and argue with people in the chat and just entertain that forever. And it was like Jerry Springer. It totally was. You didn't interrupt my channel at all, Marilyn. You're good. We were ending anyway, so you're totally fine, Marilyn. It was nothing about what you said. What I was saying was just, what I was saying about PG, it had nothing to do with what you were saying. It's just a lot of people didn't like her, Sherry. Marilyn, I probably should have just kept my mouth shut, really. And been like, okay, yes, prayers to her daughter, and just kept my mouth shut. But sometimes I say a little too much and put my foot in my mouth. So Oh man, so many people gave me so much shit about Prayer Garden. It was rough. I mean, I had so many people like trying to tell me what to do with my channel. Like back then, you know, back in the good old days. Oh my god. Yeah, I mean, I did make good money at that time, but man, was it like it's stressful. But guys, thank you so much for hanging out, and I will definitely be back tomorrow. I really appreciate you guys, and thank you so much, RJ. It was good conversation. You got me a couple things to look into that I'll probably go down some kind of rabbit hole, and so that's your fault too. I'm just kidding. Anyways, chat was a riot. Yeah, that was probably the most entertaining thing about it was chat, but I couldn't enjoy the chat. I was the one that got the brunt, end of things. Like I had people who would get mad at me. It would be me responsible for what was said, like what Prayer Garden said, and they would be like, I don't know why Ziggy gives her a platform. But yet secretly people wanted her on the panel. They would say that, but secretly they really liked, found her entertaining. You said you can OD easily from hydro, not the Tylenol. No, that's not at all what I said. That's at nowhere near what I said, just passing through. That's the complete opposite. So you please educate yourself. If you're going to repeat stuff, please repeat it correctly. I said it's much easier to OD on the Tylenol than the codeine. So I don't know what you're talking about. Okay? Thanks. All right. Good night, guys.